like the original Overwatch
Hmm.
way back in the day, and then
Yes.
picked up Overwatch 2 about a year ago, and have kind
Yes.
of been climbing. And as I hit Diamond, I've noticed the game's getting a little bit harder,
Okay.
little more challenging. So
Okay.
just want to make sure kind of the things that I'm working on and I'm doing are kind of correct, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have any like bad habits or anything that I'm maybe not noticing
Yeah.
as blatantly. And yeah,
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Now, when did you hit diamond specifically?
last season I think.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it was last season.
And tracer one tricking essentially.
Yeah.
You had some questions about hero pool. We'll maybe get in that in a little bit, but for right now, tracer one tricking. Okay. Um, what are some things that you progressed on as you climbed through the ranks? Anything come to mind, or is it just general, a lot of different things?
Um, I mean, so I started out what like season 11, season 12, something like that, and
Yep.
like silver whenever I first placed.
Right.
And so it was a lot of just kind of brute forcing and not really thinking that much. I watched a lot of your coachings and kind of started focusing a little bit more on like off angling and
Yeah.
kind of focusing on
And how did that
range
go?
and overall pretty good. I think
Okay.
generally speaking, that definitely helped me climb a lot. There was actually a point last season where like I hit diamond at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started trying to think about other things, and I'm like, oh, what else could I be working on? And I started focusing on other things and immediately tanked, it felt like,
Yeah.
and kind of backtracked and was like, okay, what did I do to get here? Let's focus on off angle. Let's focus on my range. Let's focus on stuff like that, and
Yes.
kind of slowly climbed back up. So overall, been pretty good on kind of
Good.
those
Good. Okay.
concepts.
Okay.
So
Why Tracer? Because I'm sure it sounds like you pretty quickly decided on her. I mean, you haven't been playing for super, super, super long.
yeah, so I before playing Overwatch, I played a lot of League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a hero I one tricked a hero called Echo,
Mm-hmm.
who was a very like mobility assassin, and his ult like reverses time and
Yeah.
gives your health pull back, and so it was a first person shooter Echo.
Yeah.
So I just yeah, hero really resonated
Okay.
pretty quick, and so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's jump ahead a little bit in your form. You talked a little bit about should I be adding heroes to your pool. So
Mhm.
why has this crossed your mind? What heroes have you considered? Just give me the full breakdown then, really fast.
Well, so like I think Overwatch is a little bit kind of I mean it's a hero shooter, and I think
Yes.
certain comps make it kind of rough to play Tracer into if they have
Yeah.
like a Mauga, Kiri, Torb, like a crazy comp that it's just there's not much I can do to kill much. I can't get a whole lot of pressure. It's like should I be
Yes.
swapping to something different?
Sure.
Maybe something that is just like a little bit heavier raw damage. Should I yeah, I don't know. I've
So.
tried kind
Okay.
of a bunch of different heroes. One thing I've noticed, and I think part of it is just playing Tracer a lot, is like every win rate on heroes that I play, I'll put like 20 hours into a 20 hours into a hero, and I'll have like 30-40% win rate. It's just like
Hmm.
they're so bad. I'm just borderline feeding, and
Yeah.
it might be a matter of like, oh, I just need to put a lot of time into those heroes, but none of them have really clicked so
Okay.
much
Okay.
to where it's like, oh
Okay.
yeah, I'm enjoying playing this one hero and kind of
Was this on your
insane
main
level
account
as
or
Tracer.
on an alt or a quick play or like when you were putting hours in these heroes? Where was it?
Uh, Pretty much quick play. It would be main
Yeah.
account on quick play.
Okay, main account quick play.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, your MMR might be kind of struggling with that, but yeah, after 10 to 20 hours, in theory, you should have an idea of whether you like the character or not. And so you would say, as of now, still nothing's really stood out then.
Freya actually has kind of kicked, like kind of hit that itch a little bit more. So
Yep.
I've kind of slowly been adding her to the pool, and like I've pulled her out a couple times in ranked, not that much yet. Um, but Freya, like I said, has really really been good.
Okay.
Symmetra is one where I played Symmetra back in like Overwatch 1, and so it's like, oh, it's easy enough. I can kind of transition to this, but also it feels like a very different play style. Um,
Right.
or maybe I'm not. I haven't looked up that much about like how to play Symmetra and done a whole lot of research into like what I should be doing and stuff like that. And so Yeah,
Okay.
that's another hero that I've kind of thought about, but
Okay. Okay. I would keep experimenting if you feel like you have the need to, or anything like pulls your attention away for fun. The good news is that out of all the characters to truly one trick, Tracer's definitely in the top five, I would probably say. So I definitely think that like playing versus Kirikos and Torbs and stuff on certain maps can be really annoying. But if you've tried a lot of characters, nothing stuck, it's okay. It's fine. You can continue to adjust and adapt. And if, Freya turns out to be a character that you really like and you like putting hours in and it kind of clicks, then okay, banger. That works out perfectly. But I wouldn't stress too much about it. It should really be driven by need. I think your quick play strategy is totally fine. If you ever wanted to actually truly implement and learn a new character, I would recommend an alt account just so that you can actually put some hours in ranked and then you have a more objective metric of how good you are with the character before you adapt it with your tracer. So that might mean I'm going to play the character at a time of the form of your Diamond 4. I'm going to play the character until I'm Diamond 4 or Diamond 5, right? And that way when I play the character on my main, I don't feel like I'm throwing the game, if that makes sense.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. Any questions about playtime? I'm looking at it here, 2025 week. Maybe this has changed. 2-3 hours a day, sometimes longer on the weekends. Has that changed? Do you have any questions about how to train, warm up, etc.?
No, I mean, I think that's generally the same.
Yeah.
Work this season specifically has been pretty stressful.
Yeah. Makes
So I
sense.
haven't been putting as much hours into like ranked. I've been playing a ton of quick play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe one thing would be like kind of with that as I'm getting off work and a little bit not as there, is it better for me to just kind of force it down mid and go straight it or not straight into ranked, like do some warm ups and go into ranked where my mental might not be 100% there? Or is it better for me to just be like, oh, I'm kind of tired. I'm just going to kind of spam quick play
Yeah.
today and get some practice in?
It's just a question of volume. Just a question of volume. Like, I mean, today I was feeling pretty tired. I had a lot of stuff this weekend, a lot of work this weekend, and had a lot of work today. So when I was doing some physical training before a session about an hour ago, I just cut the volume down by like 30-40% from what I would normally do. So I just knew that my output was lower, but better to do a little bit than to do nothing. So
Okay.
that would be my recommendation for you too. I don't think that you should try to do a full session. I don't think you should sit there and grind and force yourself to lock in for 2 to 3 hours. That's a recipe for disaster, right? But you could probably get in, ask yourself, hey, I don't know if I'm going to win or lose. I'm just going to see if I can get one, maybe 2 games of good practice with my positioning or my mechanics or whatever in. That's all. That's it. Call
Okay.
it there. And if you want to keep playing after that just more casually, then yeah, go for it. No problem. That's just a good general guideline. Now you have to develop maturity and experience about what are my limits versus what is just me making excuses or what is me forcing myself to do something that I really shouldn't be doing just because I've got an ego about it, right? Sometimes I'm like, no, I'm built different. I can do it anyway, and it's a bad decision, right? So that takes
Yeah.
maturity and experience, but I do think that you can adjust the volume accordingly as you feel fit.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I want to improve my confidence in decision making and the things that I'm training and focusing on. So decision making is this in-game focus, like in-game decisions.
Yeah, I mean, like certain times where it's like, should I be going for a long flank here? Is it better for
Yeah,
me to like go deep
yeah,
and try to like pull attention off the team so that,
right, right,
yeah,
right. I think the general answer for that is just like, is the fight going? That's probably you should just be taking the value that you can get right now. But a lot of it's just like, what does the map give you? Do you have a short range offing? Well, if the answer is yes, then you're fine. But we can look more of that in the review. Things that I'm training and focusing on, that's obviously a very important question and what we're here for mostly. What have you worked on even in the past month and a half? Sounds like we talked a little bit about this already, but you said a lot of angling stuff. What else?
yeah. Try to think. I mean, one thing, kind of piggybacking off your last point of like if the fight's still going on, one thing I've kind of noticed is to try to kind of hold my position a little bit. And I have a decent angle right now. Like maybe I'm just shooting the tank, but like let's just
Yeah,
chill here and shoot the
sure,
tank,
sure,
rather than like try to force a
sure.
rotation where now I'm rotated but I have no blinks and
Yeah. Maybe the best long term approach for answering these kind of questions, because this kind of piggybacks off the previous question, right? So, would be to just be more diligent with your self review. Not long in terms of how you're doing it, but like you kind of brought up a very specific example right there. Well, in the moment, you may not know exactly what the right decision is, but I do encourage you to make a decision and stick with it. But then afterwards, just take 3 minutes and look at it, look at it and be like, was that good? Was that bad? Did I have time before? Was that a good angle? Was that a bad angle? Like what path could I have taken if I had decided to rotate? Just, you'd be surprised at how many of those awkward moments in the moment that afterwards you can go and solve later. And then crucially give yourself that insight that maybe next time you're confronted with that decision, you have experience of thinking through that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's see here. Like to reach comfortable in Masters. I think training time wise, you're good for Masters. GM would be nice, but not certain MVC is very possible. Okay. I think Masters, like I said, is possible. Consistency is the easy answer in terms of what's holding you back. Some games I feel like I'm locked in, others I can't hit shots. Potentially confidence saying maybe something in the match is not obvious to me. Okay, elaborate on that a little bit.
I feel like I'm like almost like a streaky player where, I'll if I get like 1 or 2 wins on the day, then I could play all day and I'm rack up like 7 wins. But if I go into a game and kind of have a rough game, it's like, oh no, the next 2 or 3 are going to be rough. I can't pull myself out of it.
Yeah.
And that might extend like days even, where it's like, all right, yesterday I had a bad day, and then I get on and I'm like, all right, it's reset, let's go again.
Yeah.
But it feels like it follows over. But again, it goes the other way too, where it's like, all right, I had a great day yesterday and I had a great day the day before. It's like this whole week, all I'm doing is winning.
Yeah. Okay. So there's like really 2 ways of looking at it. The first way that we can immediately, like what we control and what we can't control, right? So the first one is, are there any extenuating circumstances, life, sleep, stress, goals, mentality, the type of game, the type of comp, the type of map, your goals, the lack of goals? Are there any extenuating circumstances that you notice surrounding the good days and the bad days?
Not necessarily. I mean, I will on the good days. I feel like I kind of like I just flow. Where I'm not super focused on.
Yeah, but why? I guess is kind of what I'm saying. You see, like you're describing the position that you're in, but what led you to that position. I'm not necessarily asking you to control it, but I am asking for you to look after that has happened and gone, okay, that went really well. Did I just get off to a good confident streak? Did I win a couple of games and that just kind of snowballed for the rest of the session? Did I sleep well last night? Was I enjoying the matchups that I was playing? I mean, even if it's just something like I really don't like playing versus Torb, like maybe there's things like that,
Yeah, for sure. So just like maybe a little bit more like retrospective on those days as a whole. And
Okay. Yes. Both, not just the bad days, like what went wrong, but actually in days that go well, like what went right, and then can I replicate some of those things? Because this is kind of leads to my second point, is that there's only going to be a few things that you can actually control, right? Like you talked about it earlier, you got a particularly stressful day at work. How should I train? And that's a very good question, right? And that's how you're going to have some control over the quality of your practice, right? If, for example, you went back from a stressful day of work and tried to do a 3 to 4 hour block of grinding, you would be like, why am I playing so badly today? Why am I so inconsistent? Well, I know, right? I have a really good guess. But on days that aren't exactly like that and you're still playing poorly, well, maybe there's something to learn from that. Maybe there's not. Maybe there is. Because the other reality is that up and down is just the nature of how you play or how we perform in everything, not just Overwatch. So just keep that in mind, I guess is my point.
Yeah, makes sense.
So pay attention to the extenuating circumstances that lead to good days and bad days. Try to discover any ones that you can control. And then the ones that you can't control and you just have a bad day, still practice. It's still useful. Just make it good. Recent Freya grind for me, one of the things that I really noticed is that I really had to be... I was really struggling with the streamer thing and playing. I'm not good enough at that. So what I did is I was the last day, my most successful day, probably streaming Freya. I actually, no joke, I muted my mic, closed down stream chat, and just played. And I realized that I was at points I was like yapping and talking out loud and reacting like, typical streamer. But I just felt so much more focused and so much more locked in than I had in the previous days that I played Freya on stream. So I realized that the distractions were really screwing me up. The other thing I noticed as well is that I played a lot better when I had, shocking, a very, very specific goal. Early on in my Freya, I just could kind of play and everything was new to me. Everything was learning. But then as I started to get like 10, 15, 20 hours in, I needed to give myself more specific feedback about what I was practicing, right? Because I was just generally good at Freya, but not really great at Freya. I was kind of mid at everything, right? So I needed to be more honed in with what I was practicing, and that just made my gameplay a lot better. In addition to that, I noticed that I played a lot better when there were like actual stakes. So the closer I got to my goal, the more I could allow myself to just focus on doing my absolute best, like stay locked in, stay focused. I noticed that in longer games, at halfway points, round 3, OT, sometimes I just get kind of lazy with what I was focusing on. So I just stay focused and just basically I'm looking at like these extenuating circumstances and being like, not necessarily when I'm playing well, but when I'm giving it full effort and when I'm feeling like I'm enjoying the process, what's the circumstances surrounding that, and trying to kind of get that lightning in a bottle as best as you can.
Okay.
It's not easy, and it's not perfect either, but I do think it's important that you're always practicing deliberately.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions here before we jump in?
Check. I wrote a couple things down. I just want to make sure.
Sure.
No, I mean, I think that's probably
Okay.
I think that hits all the notes.
We can look at some gameplay if you like to.
Yeah. Let me toss a couple codes. There's an Antarctic and then a Numbani. So I have 2 codes. One of them was a pretty close game, and then third round they swapped Torb. So this kind of goes back to the like, oh, should I have pulled out Freya maybe this game or something?
Yeah.
Because that third round it just felt like I didn't have any impact. Or is there something I could have done third round?
Yeah. Okay. Which one do you want to start with here?
That's the 0BZ.
Okay.
The first code.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look then. You see okay in your end?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions about Tracer's strategy, positioning, cooldowns, matchups, anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, some stuff might come up
Yeah,
in
of course.
the film, but I think we're good.
Let's take a look. Short range off angle, good timing, good mechanics, So you probably coming into this already knowing what basics we'll talk about. So the key thing is going to be maybe a little bit of teaching, but more importantly, probably highlighting the gaps between things that you're familiar with and what you're actually doing, right?
Yep.
Okay. So rollout's fine. We'll definitely lean harder to the right or to the left and do so quickly. There's a little too much, like for example, getting hit by anti-nade there is kind of criminal, right? Just keep the rotation up all the way to here as soon as you can, or all the way to here as soon as you can. Don't stand here. And so that kind of begs the question, what were you waiting on there? How recent was this game? Do you remember?
I think this was yesterday.
Okay. Do you remember your thoughts at that point in time?
Not exactly as far as like what I was waiting on, to be honest. No.
Okay. Sure. I see the vision there. Like, think post recall, maybe I can punish that, but I think it would have been okay just to keep the pressure up there on Sigma.
Okay.
And then this is you trying to cheat just a little bit. If you're going to go, probably just better to shoot Tracer or Sigma from this position here. And if you're going to commit to Ana, then how should your rotation look like here? So you're starting from here. How should it be done?
Like my first thought is maybe don't even do that first blink and kind of slow walk around the thing rather than like take it back a second even, just so I have the extra blink.
And then but regardless, you're from here.
Right here.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't want to go like left. I mean, left and down feels like. I mean, if I'm there, I maybe just go for the brig instead, but I have no cover.
Sure, but it's a fine angle, right? And if you did want to get to the Ana, getting to here isn't too shabby either, but you needed to go there immediately, not this halfway crap. Like right here, you want to change your angle because you're not comfortable shooting tank. I think you should be fine shooting tank, but if you do want to adjust, none of this. Right, this is what costs you your HP. You notice this?
Yeah.
So the point being here, you're very slow on taking your angle on the right at the start of this fight, and then you do. Then it's okay. Then from here, you're not really getting value out of this angle because you're just kind of popcorning it, not just actually consistently pressuring Sigma. And then when you decide to rotate, instead of thinking, where's my next angle, you're just kind of chasing the Ana. And you're not thinking about, if I were to go for Ana, where would it be? Probably here. If I were to change my angle, probably here, right? So your rotations are lacking here. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So because of that, you're now forced to recall out, right back where we started. Okay. And ultimately, we can kind of cash this fight out to no real egregious mistakes that got you killed, but just a real lack of pressure. And the lack of pressure is as a result of that poor positioning. It's not bad. I guess poor is not the best adjective here, but a little bit directionless, I guess I would say. Sure. Sure. I like the little bit of greed there. But see, the funny thing here is you don't even need to rotate away from this. I don't hate this here either. Yeah, honestly, this is okay. You could have just gone back, I guess is my point. Because you have the angle still. You can just keep pressuring. You don't need the element of surprise. But regardless, this is good. And for once, because we actually had a nice set of resources, look at the space that you create here. So, Tracer, Ana, Tracer, packed. Tracer still distracted. Ana looking Tracer. Brig bashing at Tracer. Tracer, Brig, Ana looking at you. Sigma gets no help at all. And then he dies for it. So that was well done. It's a little far. And this is one of those moments, right? Where do you rotate here? You know? Because now they're all so far away. So if you wanted to push here, how would you rotate? It's tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think less
like
about
maybe cheat the
how.
door, but
Think where.
towards like the ash.
Yeah, but where? Be specific.
Like if I were to, like maybe hug that left side, cut in, and then cut back.
So to where?
So that I'm.
So you're
like
here,
back
and then
to-
where?
Well, originally I was thinking, like on the other side of the door, but maybe even into that small room.
So just you go back to end goal is to kind of like halfway house it right at this doorway, but eventually I'm actually going to go in this room here, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Seems good to me. By what parameter are you looking for these positions? Like why this position here?
I mean, I have the health pack right there. It pretty lots of cover that
Sure.
I can take. Shorter range than where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would like something a little higher ground if possible, but also I don't think I can get back in that alleyway with the brig.
Yeah, I agree. But this is like a pretty solid rotation from you in terms of what you're calling for here. So like let's do that. Let's do that. As opposed to where you're at right now. Do you see like how horrific this feels, right? It's not because your initial angle was bad. It's because as the fight evolves, you completely lose all sorts of context of where I need to go and where I can be. You notice that? And so things start to go really, really down the toilet. Make sense?
Yeah. So kind
Okay.
of like, all right, I'm thinking one step ahead, but I need to be thinking like 2 or 3 steps ahead, and like keeping track.
Not necessarily.
Of
Think
like
one,
the next play.
Yeah, so what happens is they utilize the downtime when your angle no longer gets value. So like when you're here, you're fine, right? But now you're thinking, where do I go now? And you have the time to think about it because what are you doing right now?
Nothing.
Nothing. You can't do anything because everything's too far away. So you might as well think about it. You might as well think about that rotation. So what I'm asking you is when your angle loses value because they rotate away from you or the fight location changes, well, take the seconds. Where do I need to go? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm not really asking you to think 2 steps ahead. because I think that's probably too much to ask for anybody, right? Just take the downtime to think one step ahead again. So it's one step at a time, because you don't know where that second step's going to be. You couldn't think 2 steps ahead because you don't know where that first step's going to take you, right? Like you're doing it here, right? You're going to push here, correct? So where are you going to push to? Kind of leaning off to the side, right?
Yeah.
But then obviously here, well, this doesn't make any sense, right? This is dangerous.
Yeah, not a little bit
yeah, exactly. Take the downtime, because you notice all these times that I'm asking you to rethink your rotation, it's also coincidentally times when you're not really doing anything of value anyway. So you might as well take the downtime. Do nothing for just a brief second to reevaluate your next off angle, your next rotation. So not just your starting angle, but the next step. This is fine. Pretty risky, but with where your hog is holding seems to make a lot of sense. Sure. I mean, it's a little unlucky, but yeah, it's fine. We're kind of the same question, right? So you've evaluated, right? Now, what we've seen earlier is you've done a really bad job in moments like this. Let's see what you do now. I think it's okay, yeah? It's not terrible. Like, you're being a little bit more cautious, but you're also recognizing my team is not really fighting right now. And you're still utilizing cover and holding the angle. You notice this? It's not amazing, but it's okay. It's okay. A little bit of trigger discipline as well. Okay, there's 2 on me. Hold the angle. Keep peppering them. I guess we're shooting Zig Shield. And this is just a mechanical misplay, right? You just shouldn't die to this, right? I think the Sigma Shield was kind of hilariously unlucky, but I think this is more mechanical misplay and not necessarily a positioning problem. What do you think?
Yeah, I probably could have held cover and definitely blinked to the side a little bit more.
Yeah,
so that
I mean, you just had
staring at me.
You had so many resources going your way. I mean, for crying out loud, the Sigma Shield was on the support line. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not expected to win that. So they also had a big ult bank and Bob and Rally and Nano and so on. So okay, let's keep going here. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, so like this is the moment, right? There's nobody here. Does it mean this is a bad rollout? I'm not so sure. Maybe not, right? Regardless, the most important thing is what do you do now? I don't hate what we're doing, but it still doesn't feel super comfortable. You notice that?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'm too far to actually do damage. Like,
right.
I can kind of pull attention, but I'm not actually doing anything.
So objective pressure is not bad. Like Tracer's really good at that, right? But the problem is that you really want objective pressure when they can't shoot you in the face without like coming closer, if that makes sense. You want something like a Watchpoint Gibraltar where you can push the payload outside of their LOS. You get what I'm saying? Or a Dorado.
Yeah.
This is awkward where it's like you can't really touch point. You're trying to, but they just poke you once and you're gone. So where should you go?
I was immediately thinking like to the door again.
I mean, just probably a 1, 2, and start playing patty cake here, you know, or reconsider your rollout entirely. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the play. Once you're there, you can put more serious pressure because you're more of a threat. You're scary up close. This is just not that scary. And now, thankfully, they're pushing you. But the problem is that at this point in time, you've already lost resources doing nothing, so that when they actually start to pressure you, you're not really in a position to fight this Tracer anymore, right? You've lost too many resources before the fight started, completely unearned. And now you're just trying to live more so than anything else, right? Okay. Good rotation. Let's see what you do. Grab Mega. Now, finally, finally, we got a nice little angle here. So any attention that we get. I don't agree with this. I don't think she's low enough for this to be justified, to be frank.
Yeah.
Just keep pressuring on this angle. I've seen this a couple of times. It's like the Tracer post recall in first fight. You remember that?
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
full HP. She's got 3 blinks, and she's basically in the middle of her team. It's just not something that you can punish. I'm not discouraging the concept of pushing a low HP target with a recall. I think it's fine. I just think you're overvaluing this moment right here, as opposed to just uptime. Does that make sense?
No, for sure.
Okay. Little bit of trigger discipline goof there, so lots of clip in the air. Good pulse. You didn't manage to get to a different angle on the side, though. I respect that. You play your life, play your life, play your life, play your life. Oh, days. Okay. The lights are a little too bright for you there, I think. Just a little bit. A little bit of excitement.
Yeah.
But good pulse bomb. Okay. Tracer's on you. Or Ashe is on you, or somebody's on you. A little too early. You kind of tanked for your hog there, but hey, led to a kill, so. Good. Good.
Actually, here, should I chase this Tracer?
No. No.
Okay.
Who's
Yeah, I was
closer,
thinking
Tracer or
that the same.
backline? It's close, right?
Yeah.
But one character has a blink and another doesn't, right? So you're
Yeah.
gonna have to use blink to chase this. I mean, this is too far. Let her touch. You're already in the great positions to hold
Okay.
these guys. Keep doing it. You're team with the old Tracer. It's not bad to mark Tracer, only if it's convenient though, because you see you're not actually marking Tracer. You've done literally nothing to Tracer. Literally nothing. And now, shockingly, the Brigitte Ashe that you vacated filled the space and killed your team. So, okay. I am generally impressed by your setup. And I've seen moments of some nice mechanics. And I've seen some good moments where you're using a little bit of trigger discipline here and there. That can definitely see how you've progressed to Diamond. Well done. This is good stuff. What are you seeing so far being things that need to be done a little bit better?
Definitely like you mentioned, where on those times where I'm kind of holding a long off angle, maybe think about where I can rotate and holding short angles, not
Right.
chasing kills,
Right.
especially if they aren't like confirmed kills.
Right. Right. So your recognition on confirming kills, your recognition on when to rotate when your angle no longer has value. Anything else come to mind?
I mean, maybe just some general trigger discipline type stuff.
Yep,
but,
just mechanical stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay, let's keep going. Any questions?
no.
Pretty simple, right? Nothing
Yep.
super crazy. Check rotation here. This seems like a pretty good neutral rotation. Checking your team's positioning. It's really good. This is just you misplaying the duel. You need to win that many. You need to win that many. Especially with the blink perk, it's really important. So if you go from here, kind of
Yeah.
pull her towards you, shoot here, blink backwards, or grab the mini, and then you're cooking. You'll force recall first. You just misplayed the duel. I think you're trying to blink through her, but then obviously she steals the mini health back and gets pocket, and you're not going to, so. So now she wins the angle. This is still a good compromise. Okay. What do you do now? So you took this angle, and you made the Sigma go backwards. Now the Sigma's backed up. Now your angle's no longer good. What do you do?
I think like what I do in this game, I think I deepen the angle around the right side.
Do you agree with that decision?
I mean, seeing that, yeah, I think this is just like one of those times where I'm not 100%. Like I mentioned early, where it's like, all right, I have this short off angle, I can sit and pepper the tank, or I can take time. I think it takes a lot of time to rotate,
Does it?
but I might get more value out of it.
See, this is
But
the
it's
thing,
also
right?
dangerous. I don't know who's back there, right?
True. You don't know for sure, but I don't think I disagree with you in the fact that I don't think it takes a lot of time. I think this rotation should only cost you 2 blinks, and you're already in good position to go for backline. I think it's worth it. So I think like this is one of those moments where if it's like a bit of a gray area, sure, but I think it's like clearly not a long enough rotation to make it a bad play. And also, crucially, you're rotating to a good angle as well. Yeah, this is fine. Just needed to do more damage on the clip. That's all. Missed too many shots. Maybe a little bit more trigger discipline there. Honestly, not really sure. Let's go back and watch again. So obviously blinking to the wall there too. So just don't rush the clip a little bit. You kind of see that, a lot of dragging. Just look for her to move a little bit predictably and then burst fire it as necessary and then go from there. Also, don't blink when she isn't looking at you. You notice that? It's kind of like expecting her to turn, but she doesn't actually turn.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it was because you had finished the clip. Doesn't matter. Other than that, what do you got? Anything?
I mean, I might have been able to hold cover a little bit better there.
Maybe a little bit better, right? Right. But you see the impact here, right? Can we, regardless of how it was done, you almost got the kill and, like, you gave your team a lot of space. You just misplayed it mechanically. So, when is the rule? When should you rotate after shooting tank to backline? When should you not? Why was that rotation acceptable?
Because I was rotating to a good spot.
What's a
where I
good
could
spot?
get a short off angle on the back line.
Right.
I think my impact where I wasn't the greatest.
Why? Because I actually agree with that.
I mean, I was just kind of peppering the tank,
but that's not a problem, right?
You said the only way that.
What is peppering? Let me pause you really fast. What does peppering mean?
As both of their supports are just pumping heals into the tank, I'm just offsetting the heals, but I'm not able to actually offset them enough, I guess.
Yeah, but I guess my point being is aren't you supposed to have help from the rest of your team though? Let's go back. I really want this answer to be cleared up because this is one of your big questions, right? So why is this not the most impactful right here?
I mean, I think that Ashe has a better angle on me than she could just turn and ruin my day pretty quick.
Remember when we asked what do we like in a position? You said short range off angle. Mm-hmm. This is let's be simple about this. Is this a short range off angle anymore?
It's short range. It's not super off though.
Yeah, it's not a super off angled. And to be honest with you, I disagree. I don't think it's super short either. I think as the Sigma's backed and as you've peaked deeper, you just said it with the Ashe, right? This is not short range. She's going to blow your head off. It might be short-ish, medium-ish to Sigma, but that's not what counts as a short-range off angle. Short-range off angle is I'm not peeking anybody unless they're short range, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, I could say, this is a short-range off angle on the Sigma right here, right? No, because I'm going to get shot, right? That's not a short-range off angle. A short-range off angle involves cover that prevents other people from shooting from me. So it was a short-range off angle here, and then he backed up, and then it wasn't. And now you're like, well, what do I do now? He wasn't there anymore. Does that sound familiar? Because that's a lot of what we talked about on the first round. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
As they rotate away, now I'm stuck going, well, there's nobody here to shoot. What do I do? Well, you need to rotate. And you did. You did. This is no longer a sharp angle, as you said, and it's no longer particularly short range. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So if the Sigma had stayed here, honestly, just keep shooting him because you can LOS the Ashe easily and you can do significant damage to Sigma, regardless of whether he's getting double pocket or not, crucially. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
But as he backs off and your angle gets worse and he gets further away, well, then you're going to have to make an adjustment. Where do you need to be? As quickly as you can.
Probably to the in that little 3-column.
Yes,
alley.
Somewhere off to the right, right?
Yeah.
But crucially, cover is what you're missing. So you're here. We need to get to cover outside. You cannot be here.
Yeah.
This is you just chasing random crap and then you floating in the. I understand. I'm being tough on you. These fights are going kind of chaotic. And so this is not an easy thing to do by any means. Okay. Make your decision. Where are you going to go? Don't stay. Don't stay. Don't stay. Don't stay. Don't stay. You don't necessarily have to rotate this far. Where could you have also gone from this position here as well? At least if you hadn't been hit by anti-nade.
Yeah, I'm. I would want to just like literally turn left and just shoot the tank from here. But
it's too far.
I feel like that. Yeah, too far.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't know at first, right? I guess my point being is that you can turn and shoot left tank now, but only if you get inside this room here. The difference between this and this is because on a cannon cannot see you. Do you notice that?
Yeah.
That's the difference. This where the angle works. Pokety, 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 pokety. Oh, there's an Ashe here. She's going to flank me. I need to contest this. Oh, she backs up or takes high ground. Okay, now I deepen my angle from there.
Okay.
You see it? I mean, this angle takes quite a while, but this is also a very open point. You don't really have many options here. Okay. Good trigger discipline there. I encourage you to try to use a blink early post recall and not late post recall. So in other words, she's going to recall, but she's going to see you during this recall and know where you are, and you may not know exactly where she is, if that makes sense. So instead of trying to reacquire the crosshair here, do you see how you're at a massive disadvantage here?
Yeah.
Use a blink sooner. As soon as you see that recall, blink immediately. And she's going to want to start blasting her pistols as soon as she comes out of that recall. She's going to waste like 30 bullets before she reacquires you. Yeah. So it's more of a micro thing. Yeah, good job. This is really well played fight from you. It was a good kill on the Ashe. Don't love the pulse bomb. But the duel on the Ashe and then winning the Tracer 1v1 is really important. And if you play the rest of this fight even halfway decent, you win this. And it looks like that's going to be the case. That's okay. Just slow in the blink. I could tell that you were moving with the blink because I could see where your crosshair was going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all right. Good stuff. Very, very, very well done. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Yeah, team is pushed up a little bit, but this is spooky. Don't bother. I mean, from a rotational perspective, I don't like where your team is fighting, but I guess this makes sense from what you're doing, you know? Like, if your team is going to stuff the choke, maybe it's better to kind of lurk in here, but if they're going to stuff it way out here, yeah, I mean, this is the play. It's not a place you're probably used to playing, but you are playing cover well I say that, but you're playing it okay. Good. Oh, dear. Okay, so perks tough for sure. This is a mistake. What's the mistake here?
I could have maybe just held the brig angle, just like kept pressuring the brig.
Not so much the positioning, but where your attention is going.
For the like Ana.
Yes, it needs to be on the target here. You're taking an angle. There's somebody looking at you that's not the tank, and you're looking at the tank instead.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when you were peeking this angle here and looking at Sigma when there's an Ashe picking you. You can't do this. Yeah. You can't do this. Okay. So then you need to play cover better or approach this Ana more strategically, or as you said, approach the Brigitte. Whatever you need to do, but you can't go for this. And I think this is another one of those moments as well where it's like you're looking at the Ana, but you know, you got to respect the brig. Like whoever's looking at you is your biggest threat, right? So not saying that you can't ignore the Brigitte here if you had like pulse bomb or the Ana was low, but you just have to understand the risks.
Yeah, to be aware.
Yep, whoever's looking at you is your number one priority. Just like you immediately turned your attention to the Tracer duel in the previous fight, right? Because she's looking at you. This rotation is okay, but what is this rotation designated for you to shoot? Like, who's here to shoot from this position?
Who is up in the air?
It's like Sig or nobody, you know? It's like, it's not much. You know, there's not much that you can reach from here. So, begs the question, what do you really do from here? and either you deepen your flank or you reconsider your rotation. Not that this angle's bad if they're close. If there's somebody here, maybe it's okay, but it's pretty spooky, as you can kind of see.
Yeah.
Very naked. Too far? Now where? Now where? Now where? Now where? Too far? Crosshair ego. You turn the corner and you see her looking at you like that. Please use a blink immediately.
Yeah.
Use a blink immediately. Because I'm going to be very clear. You are creating a lot of space. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the Ana. Look at the Brig. Look at the Ashe. They know they've messed up too, but it's too late. That Tracer, the Yucca's almost dead. Sigma's in serious trouble. Just you win this a little bit more comfortably. Like that Ashe should die. Oh my days. You see it. It's almost there. Almost. Almost. Not quite. A little naked, a little exposed. Oh, don't play here. So this is, I've noticed as things start to get stressful, your position gets a lot worse. So right now, where should you go? I know you're under a lot of pressure right now.
Yeah, I think I go right.
You just have to go right? It's predictable, but it's good. It's predictable because it is good. Take the rotation that's available to you. There's nothing about this that makes any sense whatsoever, outside of the most direct path to the target and the most easy path to get your head blown off. And then even afterwards, there's the need of, oh, I guess I'm just going to be on point here. It's okay, it's OT. Let it happen. Focus on your execution. You said third round, you said you had some issues?
Yeah, they just swapped Torb, and I feel like I didn't have any pressure.
I'm going to be honest with you. I do think Antarctica is a bit of a tricky map for Tracer. What have you noticed as being problematic at points in time? What has given you issues? Ignoring your own things that you need to practice, but what else?
I mean, there's a lot of like kind of long cover angles where I have to do like pretty deep rotations to get to.
Yeah. A lot of long angles, a lot of angles that almost feel like they demand you to flank or nothing, right? What else? I mean, this is a good one right here.
Yeah, I mean, this one has like a lot of these like weird high ground.
Yeah, verticality. Yeah,
verticality, split.
That's bold. What's the problem here?
I mean, I know Torb turret's right there. I don't really have a ton of cover. I feel like my team isn't really pushed
It's the
enough.
same thing, though. Like, I want you to pretend that this Torb turret's Ana. We have the same problem, don't we? Can you really pressure point with somebody scoping in on you on point? Is this a short-range off angle?
No.
No, it's not. Right? It's not. Like, it's not that forcing point is bad, but it's the... Do you notice it was like the same thing we had with the problem with first round, right? When we were trying to force point and on and Ashe just like peeking at you, right? It's not good. It's not going to work, right? So if the angle that you want is getting poked out from somebody in the back, then it's no longer a short range off angle and you need to find a different approach. So as soon as you see Torb turret here, where do you go? Got a couple of options.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe
Take your time.
I mean, I could kind of cheat and force the fight straight back to the right.
So as in like kind of just blink through
Like
and force it over
either
here.
there, yeah, like
Sure.
cheat, blink through, force the fight, or kind of longer rotation, go through the room.
Through where? Give me a direction.
Through that little back to the right, kind of where I came
So like
from.
here, kind of like here.
Yeah.
You ready for another one? You can also just blink it across to here and force it under here, right? Anywhere that's. But yeah, you have the right idea. You just can't fight in front of the Torb turret. You're the breaking Torb turret, or you're avoiding it entirely, right? And you can tell you're kind of getting flustered here. A lot of it has to do with the point being unlocked, but I don't care. Let the point unlock and let the enemy team cap it. You have to focus on your positioning and your setup. Now, I want to ask you a question. Their Sigma rotates right through here. Let's say that you were here for right now. Or, yeah, like right here. Let's say the Torb wasn't even here. Let's say the Torb dropped. Okay. Would this be a short range off angle on Sigma?
Yeah.
Yes. What's the difference between shooting Sigma now and shooting Sigma earlier when it was bad? Two things. Just go back to short range and off angle,
I had
right?
somebody else kind of looking at me from a not
Right.
off angle.
So it wasn't short range.
Yeah.
In the same manner that the Torb turret 1v1 on point that we just witnessed was not a
yeah.
short range duel because the Torb is poking us down. Okay. What about the angle part? Is this an angle? I mean, clearly, right? Like this is very, very deep. Doesn't always have to be this deep, but yeah, so this would be fine. Sure. Sure. Poorly played, but sure. How would you approach this differently?
I think like peeking it before just blinking in blindly would have been smart.
Like just there's no like crosshair you go with the turret, right? So just shoot and peek it, and then he all turns your way. Probably blink this way, shoot and blink. You spend some time breaking this. And there's also not a lot of urgency for you to break it either. You can just kind of hold that angle and just keep them busy. If this guy is spamming repair turret in front of an Ana Sojourn, I think you're probably going to be okay, right? To be honest with you, this is like really lame, but this is okay strategy-wise. I mean, you look at this and it's like, yeah. You see what I'm saying? Sure. You're on a short range off angle. Yes. I mean, this is good. Like, he's using overload. You got turret, the brig drop, the rotation's awkward, right? Look at the space that their DPS control now, thanks to you, right? Good stuff. Now, the next question is the tricky one, right? And this is where you immediately fail. Now, to be frank with you, your Hog's dead immediately, and that's his fault, not yours. However, as this Torb drops, where are you really dropping here? Where's the angle here?
Yeah, I think instead of dropping, maybe I go around and kind of pressure the brig Ana.
Right, but why is that the case? It's not always the case that you can't drop, right? What's the problem here? Do you see it? When you drop, where are you dropping?
Yeah, I mean, I think what was going through my head is kind of similar problems that I had earlier, where it's like, oh, cool, Torb doesn't have overload. Like, let's kind of pressure and try to kill Torb. But
you lost him.
He's full health. Yeah.
But even if he was full health, shoot him. Doesn't matter. My point being is that you didn't really have a plan when you dropped. You just dropped.
Yeah.
You didn't know where you were. If you had dropped and actually shot this Torb, this would have been fine. But I think it's because you lost him for a second. You kind of panicked. Yeah. And then you didn't know where you were. Right? And so now we're long range angling. You see the problem here? Now this sucks.
Yep.
I don't hate the strategy of what you're doing. Obviously, that dying there sucks. I don't hate the strategy of what you're doing. It's close. Just not very well executed. Does that make sense? Drop, shoot the Torb, disengage, find a different angle. You got me.
Okay.
I think actually what you're doing versus the Torb is very reasonable. Your Hog is kind of giving you a hard time, and then you're overthinking it, frankly. Just a little bit. Just shoot. If you got a good angle, shoot. This guy's too far now, so you can't. Not a short range off angle. You're too far from the Sigma, but more importantly, what's shooting you right now?
Yeah, I think my gun's covering it. I'm not.
Yeah, it's freaking Torb. He's going to blow your head off, right? So you can't do this. Now you can do this because it's only Brig. Now you can do this because it's Tracer and it's Sigma, and you can manage those things because they're close. Good? Good? Now, this is the moment of truth. Brilliant. You see it? You solved it. Nice job. Now where'd you go?
I think down and like to the left.
Yeah. Yeah. Too far? Now what? Don't just say what, but where, right?
maybe down the like little tube to the left.
Sure, but you got to figure out where, right? Because you can't just stand here. So where would you go?
Yeah, I mean maybe just hover. I mean behind Brig, but
Behind Brig.
I don't know if I can get into one of the door. I think the door is even like too far. But yeah, just like maybe
Yeah,
hold
just
this
get her behind her.
hovering,
You could also blink through the Torb and take an angle here as well, and take the duel here, right?
Okay.
We're always looking for cover. Good. Now you just shoot wherever you want. I probably would not go for the Pulse on Tracer without any knowledge about what her status of her blinks or recall are.
I'm surprised I threw that without. She might have recalled and I heard it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I maybe not. I might have just.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Maybe you're the wizard here.
Generally, I try to.
I think she had it. Yeah, she had it.
Yeah, she probably did.
Yeah. It's kind of a miracle that you guys lost this. I'm not gonna lie. You guys, I don't know how you lost this. I'm looking at this right now, and I'm like, I legitimately. Okay, so he got nano. That explains it. Okay. I mean, it was a cleaner fight towards the end. You screwed it up pretty badly in the execution, but it was better towards the end. Should not be complex. This should be real simple here. What needs to be done better?
I think like one of the points you made where it was like I kind of focus on one person without being aware of the other people focusing on me.
Yes, you'll take an angle and they'll have somebody has a nice juicy old sight line on you and you don't know it. Okay.
Yeah. Being a little bit more like intentional with rotations.
Okay. Be more deliberate than that. First angle's good, then what?
Yeah, so like as the angle dies, kind of planning out where I want to be exactly.
I'll go one step further than that. Not planning out. Taking the downtime as they rotate away to decide what's next. Because you don't know what you're going to be next. What if they push you, right? Like, what if they push you on the angle? Well, then you need to rotate backwards, right?
Yeah.
Right? So don't try to plan it out. Instead, I'm going to take an angle and then see how they respond and decide on my next angle. That would be the goal of practice. Mechanical stuff, still need to work on trigger discipline clips. It's not because you suck. It's just because it's a really freaking hard thing to do. You just need to practice more. Keep practicing the movement. Keep practicing the aim. Moments of blink usage as well. Like definitely keep working on the blinks too. Not just the accuracy, but how you're using them. A couple of deaths felt a little bit unearned. Deliberately practice these one at a time. I would definitely go into a game where you feel like you're more comfortable and work on your mechanical stuff. And in games where you feel a little bit less comfortable with the map, like this one example, practice your rotations. First step, how do they position? Second step, where do I go? Right? Do that over and over and over and over again. And then, frankly, with how you're playing versus the Torb, like I just don't. I know the Torb was kind of like the nominal problem here, but as you kind of saw, the Torb was kind of not important in terms of what you needed to actually practice. You notice that? And actually, I think you did very well versus the Torb, right? And he broke turret very easily. The only thing that Torb felt like he really caused issues with was first fight. But you already down one on first fight immediately, too.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
No, I mean, I think there were like a couple times where I would like kind of pull space and it feels like, all right, I'm back here like 1v3ing.
Yes.
Where I was a little bit curious on like, oh, should I be doing that? But I think I got the vibe that like a lot of those scenarios were all right.
Yeah, they were great. Yeah, they were really good. You know, they just sometimes you wouldn't always respond to the attention as well, or sometimes you'd make a mechanical mistake, like the one time you pulled on a Brig and Ash backwards, and then just didn't blink an Ash peak, right? But even though you didn't, even though you failed, you still lived barely, and then their Tracer died. So even though you didn't, you don't need to execute these things perfectly. You just need to execute them better than you are right now. That's all. I'm trying to think of another example here. First point, there was that like late touch situation when you killed the Ana and then you were on Brigitte Ash, and then you chase the Tracer who was touching point and then failed that, right? Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
another situation where you got a lot of value harassing and helping your hog kill the Ana, and then you were in a good position to go for Brig Ash and then kind of second guessed it and so on. So yeah, just details, just basics. So
Okay.
okay. Do you have any questions?
No, not
Okay.
that no.
I encourage you to practice these things at any point in time. If you go in game and feel like, man, this still feels like really, really, really hard, I want you to look in the replay. Just to that one fight or just those two fights. Try to find the issue. Try to find when and where you could have done better and what needs to be practiced. And try to get that value, that intensity with every game that you play.